Hello everyone. Respected faculties, respected all the sirs and all the students gathered here today. I am very fortunate to come and address you guys because I love interacting with young people. And I feel like young people are the future, so we really need to invest in the young people. So when my friend Navya said that Rajkumar Institute wants you to have a talk and have an interaction with the students. I said okay because I was really interested in that. So let me give you a brief introduction about myself. Um, I hope you can understand how I'm speaking, right? Because normally I speak very fast. So I'll try to speak a little slower today. Okay. So my name is Imkongnukla AO. It will be very difficult for you to, to memorize the name also, and it will be a little uh, foreign for you also. So I'm from Nagaland itself, and so I look different, and you may see that I look different. And I'm sure that you must have studied about Nagaland since you are a UPSC student. But I would like to tell a little bit of my journey so that you can also relate to it. And I would like to tell you my story because at the end of the day, I feel like we all are human beings, right? So, so I was born in a village actually. So I don't know how many of you were born in village in Karnataka or whether you are from the city itself. So I was born in a village, and during my early childhood, I stayed with my grandparents and with my mom. Okay, I didn't stay with my father. My father and my mother they didn't stay together even when I was born. Okay, my grandparents, I stayed with my grandparents and my mom. Okay, so my mom was not working, so you understand how difficult it is to send a child to school, right? So the only thing that I had to do to climb up the upward social mobility was that I had to study, right? And I remember when I was in class 10, my mom told me that if I want to continue my studies, then I had to be a state topper. And class 10, there is this uh, class 10 examination. Right? So I have to be a state topper in my state. So actually, I was a very average student. I, yeah. So actually, I was a very average student, but I had no other option, so I had to study. So I studied, and by God's grace, I was the state topper. Okay, I got rank 2 in my state, and that is how I could continue my studies. Because when you are a state topper, you you get scholarships. People come forward to help you in your studies, right? So after that, I wanted class 11 and 12 also I did in my own state only. I was thinking that I will go to Delhi University and study in graduation, but I couldn't afford that. So I did my graduation in my state itself. Okay. So don't think that I'm somebody who did my graduation from Delhi University or from IITs or somewhere else. Okay. So I did my graduation in my own state. Then I wanted to go for civil service. So I was looking for ways where I can take civil service coaching, right? So I was quite responsible for my own future. So I had to do what I had to plan what I had to do next. Then I come across a free scholarship that was given by ALS IS Institute, and I applied for that. And fortunately, I was selected, and so I went to Delhi for coaching. And here I met my friend Navya. She's from Karnataka, and I think she was my roommate, and we become very close friends. So actually, this time I came to Hyderabad to accept my IPS training. I mean, to accept my IPS, but I took extraordinary leave, which is CUL for 1 year. So after that, I came to Bangalore just to meet my friend Navya. Okay, so I'm here like that. Uh, so my so I took coaching for 1 year. Then I wanted to write my state service exam also because I had to survive, right? Because I had to find a way so that I can survive. Yeah, I can survive. So I went to Nagaland and I wrote my state service exam. And the first attempt, I got secretariat assistant, which was a little lower job, okay, but it was also to state civil service. And so I had to go back to Nagaland. And in UPSC, I wrote my first attempt, I cleared prelims, then I failed in the mains because I was not ready. So I was working in Nagaland. I used to go to office in the morning and then come back. But I always wanted to write UPSC. And also I wanted to continue writing state service exam also because I wanted to improve my rank, right? So after I come back from office, I used to study UPSC. Mostly I did it from Nagaland itself. So normally I didn't go anywhere. From office, I came to my room, I studied, then I go back to office. I had no social interaction. Okay. Then like last year, I wrote like it was very difficult because when I wrote UPSC prelims or mains, I used to fail the mains. Then I had to write my state service again because even in state service, I'm sure that you know that there is prelims, mains, and interview, right? So like like last year in 2021, let's say in 2021, I wrote six exams, like my state service, I wrote prelims, mains, and interview. And also for UPSC, I wrote prelims, mains, and interview. So there was always clash of the examination, okay? Like sometimes like after one mains is over, I have to write for the state service prelims. So fortunately, I got top my state civil service. I got rank one in my state civil service, and I was working in the state civil service. And fortunately, also I could clear the UPSC, and I could get a 723 rank, and I was allotted IPS. So that's a short story of my life. So the reason why I'm saying is because okay, I may look different and people say that okay, she's very stylish because normally people are very they wear salwar sari. Normally I don't wear salwar sari. So but what I want to tell you is that we all are just human beings and no matter where you come from, no matter what you look like, everyone has a story to tell. And somehow you can even though I look little different from you, even after story to tell, I've also gone through the same struggles that you're going through. It was also difficult for me to compete with the rest of the India because I was from on state only. I didn't study in the best of the universities. But what I would like to tell you is that if you have a motivation, if you have a determination and work hard for it, then no matter how long it takes, the universe will help you achieve that dream. So that is what I would like to tell you. And it doesn't matter where you come from, okay? It always matters where you want to go and what you want to contribute to the world is what I'd like to tell you. So yeah, let me go to prelims, mains, and interview strategy. And prelims, in the first year, we took coaching and my friends and us, we studied everything because we wanted to clear the examination in the first attempt itself, right? We wanted to clear the examination in the first attempt itself. So my friends in us, we used to study everything. Like we used to gather all the books that we find, whatever that we find in the market, all the coaching institutes. But that didn't help us because in the examination, we feel like we know the answer. But since we didn't have much revision, we couldn't recall and we couldn't write, we couldn't know the answer. And that is how we failed. In the second time for prelims, we realized that it's better that we read less and we revise it again and again. Okay, so I just refer the basic books. Like everyone says that you have to read Lakshmikan for Indian polity. I'm sure that you listen to Topper's talk. You have to read Spectrum for history. You have to read NCRDs for ancient medieval history. Then for geography also, I read only history. So what else I did? He said, yes, first he said I referred some YouTube videos. Then science, mm, science I referred to Vision IS CD 365. And also for current affairs, I referred to Insights in Vision IS and Shankar IS for environment. Then I refer Shankar Ganesh and Ramesh team for economics. So that is like what everyone refers to. Okay? So the problem is reading and revising it again and again. I think that's the biggest problem that we face. Because when we read first, it's very interesting to read for the first time because you get like so many exciting things and you feel like you are very knowledgeable. But reading the same thing again and again is very boring. Like I've read this Lakshmi Garden uh section for more than like 40 times a day. And every time I read, I keep on forgetting. And it's also very difficult to read it again and again, but you have to overcome that thing. Okay, you have to read again and again. And also current affairs is very important. In prelims, I feel like we need to have this we need to solve it with a very calm mind. Because if we put a lot of pressures and if we think that oh this is the last day, this day will decide whether I clear or not, then the answer that we know also we used to make mistake, right? Or sometimes we don't mark in the OMR. So it's very important to remain calm in the during the prelims. That's what I feel. Second thing is the mains. In the mains, earlier in the mains, I've written mains for 3 times a day, and 2 times I didn't clear. Because I didn't clear because I didn't put enough effort also because I had my state service coming up and I wanted to at least get a job, right? And UPSC was a little unpredictable. And since there was fashion examination, I decided to focus on state service. So in the earlier years, I even didn't join any test series. But this time, I wanted to, and I didn't get leave in the office also. But I got leave also, and I wanted to really do well in the main preparation. Okay, so this time I joined a lot of test series. I joined a test series of Forum IAS, Vision IAS for GS, and I referred only IAS and Shubhra ma'am test for optional. And I keep writing tests in tests because I really wanted to do well, right? In the mains, I couldn't do well my essay because I was very nervous. And the person sitting before me, actually, she had gone for interview before, and I was somebody who didn't go for interview, right? I couldn't qualify my face also. So I was very nervous. I was like very, I had very low self confidence, and this is the reason why I changed topic many a times, and I couldn't do well in my essay paper. My GS was fine. Whatever that I studied 10. And for GS, actually, for me, it's really important to know syllabus, okay? And the syllabus, because I'm sure that all the toppers say that syllabus and the previous few questions should be your guide. Like, there are lots of knowledge available, there are lots of, plenty of resources available, but the only two guide should be your previous few question paper and also the syllabus. And for the mains, I'm sure you might have seen that if you look at the previous year question paper, they used to ask from the syllabus itself. Like every word mentioned in the syllabus is important, okay? Like GS1, like history is there, world history is there, geography, social issues. GS2, we have Indian polity, international relations. GS3, we have economy and so on, right? So internal security. So we need to make note of all the words mentioned in the syllabus, okay? Because if you look at the question paper, then we used to ask questions from the syllabus only. Second thing is that it's also important to write tests because when you write tests, you you write fast and completion of the paper is very important. When you write, even if you know a lot of things, but if you can't write that in the if you can't write that in the paper, then what's the use, right? So you need to whatever that you know, you need to write it in the paper. Okay. And then it's also important for you to have to form a group, I feel like. Because for me, I was staying in my state and my friends were like they were enjoying because they already cleared the exam and I told you that I was working the state service. So my friends they were already enjoying their life and I was like staying in my own room. So it was difficult for me to have a motivation. It's very important for you to have a group of friends, like you can say 4 or 5, and you write the test together, right? And this time it means I had friends from Delhi, and we used to form a group, and we used to discuss every issue, and we used to make some questions that is probable and that may come in the exam. And I think you can also do that. Because mains, I feel like the gap between the prelims in the mains, that is from June, mostly from June to September, right? That is like the most stressful stage for an aspirant. And prelims is a little bit, it depends on luck also, they're the prelims. But the mains is like the more hard work you put, then the output will be more. Like the more hard work you put, you'll achieve more success. So it's really important that you find some questions that may also come in the exam. For example, like this is in GS2 and GS3, you can predict the question. Like when I was writing GS2, around like I could predict my friends and us we could predict around like 10 questions. And I think 10 questions is out of 20 questions that is out in the exam, 10 questions I think is a huge number, right? So it's like if you can easily predict the question in the GS, which is in GS2 and also in GS3, because GS1 is a little static and GS4 is really important to complete the paper because many people fail to complete the paper, right? So in this time, I try to inculcate a lot of examples. I write examples after every statement. I also try to write something data. You need to substantiate in support your answer by giving data and a lot of examples, committee report, SPG polls. You need to put all that and you need to underline the case because everybody can write something on the test. Questions are actually very easy, but it's very difficult to write the demand of the question. We need to focus only on the demand of the question also. Okay, like if they're asking on real waste, and if you're asking what are the challenges of the railways, then we need to focus only on the challenges of the railways. We don't have to write everything that we know on the railways. Okay, so that is one thing. My option was PSIR, and PSIR paper one, I was not satisfied, and I was crying in the examination hall only because the question I was thinking that I put in a lot of effort, but it was just like most of the people will refer the Shubra Ranjan notes, right? So whatever that I studied didn't come. Like it's in paper in this paper one, there's part A and section B. And in section A, we have to choose questions, right? And there were so many questions that I didn't know. So I was trying the exam only. And so I did more of section B. Okay. PSIR paper two, somehow I did better. And I could improve my marks in PSIR paper two because not because that I put more effort, but I changed my strategy. Like earlier in early attempts, I used to get only around 98 in PSIR paper two. Okay, but I got around 138 in my last year in PSIR paper two. Not because that I put more effort, but I changed my strategy. In the earlier years, I used to write a lot of quotations like Raja Ramohan, see Raja Mohan said this and this, but I could use a lot of quotations, but then I realized that what we want is not the quotations, but also you need to analyze it and you need to link paper one with paper two and so on. And you need to use the appropriate quotes for that, right? So I changed my strategy. And so my score it changed. It went from 98 to 138, not because I put on more effort, but because I changed my strategy. So I feel like strategy is also very important. Um, so that is mains. I was thinking that I don't clear mains because I was not happy with my PSIR paper one in essay, but somehow I cleared mains and my interview. So interview was something that I was not scared of because I was like I love public interaction. I love public speaking. So I always look up to interviews, right? So I got Smita Nagaraj ma'am's spot. Smita Nagaraj spot करने तो जाते हैं ना, you know her. So yeah, so I got Smita Nagaraj. Huh? Yeah, so I got Smita Nagaraj ma'am's spot. and I think I got 193. So I think from a board, because there are different interview board members, right? So it depends on your luck which board you are gonna get. So I got Smita Nagar's man board, and I think I scored one of the highest from the board. Okay, so I got 193. So if you are preparing for interview, it's really important that but also, I used to go for mock interview. Like I went around two or three mock interview. Um, Last year during the time I had election in my state, so I was busy in my election, so I didn't prepare well. But after some time, I went to Delhi and then I did some mock. So in the mock, and I did in Vajradal Vedi, I did in Chanakya Mandal, I did in next IS, but I could get around 190. Like my interview marks were fine only actually. So in the interview, it's really important to interview is also very important because I know somebody who also got me the encouragement spot, and he was saying that he got in the morning session and he said that his interview was really good and he was very happy and he was telling me that I will also get me the encouragement spot, and surely I did get me the encouragement spot. But when the result came out, no, this guy he couldn't clear it in the final days, and it's very painful to go till the interview in not clear. Okay, like it's better to fail in the prelims rather than fail in the interview and come back to prelims actually. So my friend, this guy, he got only 132 in Smita Nagar's men's spot. Okay, so that's why interview is also very important. If you look at the people who cleared this year and who didn't clear in the interview, then interview marks plays a very important role. Those people who didn't clear in the interview, they got 130, 140, and those who cleared, they got like 193, 200, 187, like that. Okay, so interview marks plays a very important role. So even the interviews, you don't have to take it lightly if you really want to clear the exam. So in interview, it's really important, and many of people have their names this time. So it's important to look at the depth, like the field application form. You need to know what are your hobbies. You need to feel. You need to give importance to your optional. My optional is political science and international relations. So they ask me question on that. It's also important for you to understand about what you are really good at, and it's good to work on your strengths. Like it's good to practice looking in the mirror, and also it's good to work at your strengths, because my strength was that I don't get nervous. I smile often. People say, okay, you shouldn't smile often because if you smile often, then the interviewer with me think that you are not taking this seriously. No, but I knew that not everybody smiles in the interview because they're very scared, right? But I knew that this was my strength, and so I had to work on this. And that is why I was smiling the entire time in the interview. And even if they asked me questions, and even if you were not satisfied with the answer, I was not nervous. I was like, okay, I'll explain it, I'll tell you again. So it's very calm, and that they are not testing your knowledge because they have already tested your knowledge in the mains and prelims, right? They're just testing your personality, whether you will be able to handle pressure, how honest you are. Like, for example, if they ask you a difficult question and if you can't answer, but if you're trying to make that up, then they will understand that, you are dishonest, right? But if you tell them that, okay, I can't recall now, then they will think that you are honest. And when you're giving for interview, it's also important to tell a little bit about your character every time. For example, like they ask me, uh, that since I say that my hobbies are reading autobiographies, they asked me who wrote the book Wings of Fire. I say that it was Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam who wrote the Wings of Fire, right? Then they asked, what are the best lines that you like from it, okay, from that particular book? Then I say that I think in the last page he said that the name Abdul Kalam may end with him after he dies, but the works that he did will inspire a lot of people. And I say that even I want to live a life like him, to be remembered and things like that, right? So you need to, like, even if they ask a question, you have to find ways to show a little bit of your character here, right? So that they can see that you are very positive, you are a very inspiring personality. And since I told them that I love public speaking, he told me that to give me a topic, to give me on uniqueness of Naga, and he told me to speak on that particular topic for 2 minutes without stopping, with a proper introduction, with a proper uh, body in a proper conclusion, right? So my interview was fine. And actually the interview, we think that, oh, they will ask very difficult questions because we look at Trishti IS interview and Trishti IS, they ask very difficult questions. But actually people go to Trishti IS just because they want to become famous after they clear the interview, okay? Because mostly in the interview, they ask very simple question actually. Like they mostly ask about you. They don't ask you very, very like difficult questions that will make you nervous. So I feel like among the people who go for interview, they go to things like Sanagya Mandal, Vachira Vedi, all these are good. Like it helps you understand, like mostly people they want to have a just a conversation with you. Okay. So you need to just understand and work on your on your strengths, and you need to improve your weaknesses. So interview is like the most fun stage actually. And yes, so that's our prelims mains interview. So I feel like UPSC is a little unpredictable. Okay, it's very unpredictable. And I've also seen that those who clears the exam and those who don't clear the exam, it's just like we are winning a lottery, like those 2 years. Okay, it's not that we are more knowledgeable than them. It's not that we are more smart than them. But because there's an element of luck with. But I feel like if you really work hard, then somehow if your friends clear this time, then you may clear next year or the next year, right? So one important lesson that I have learned is that we don't have to compare ourselves with others, I think. Because the more that you compare, then you feel like, oh, I'm more deserving. I'm supposed to clear, but my friends are clearing and things like that, right? So it's important that we don't compare with ourselves. And second thing is that we also need to believe in ourselves. Because if you clear in the first attempt, it's fine, but not so many people clear in the first attempt, okay? So when you write for the second time, third time, somehow your parents or your friends may also lose confidence in you, right? Or sometimes they may tell you, especially for girls, to get married or to do other things. But you really need to believe in yourself that if you have come till this far, then you can really, it needs a little push. So it's really important. And the third thing is that it's also important to work on our mistakes. Like if we don't clear the prelims, if we don't clear the mains, then we have to sit in them. We have to see where we are lacking, and we really need to strategize it well. Because if you look at, like, I'm sure that many of us have heard about Tina Dabi, right? So in Tina Dabi in 2016, she got All India rank 1. Then after 3-4 years, her sister Ria Dabi, right? Ria Dabi wrote the examination and she got rank 15. And she got the highest mark in the written examination, right? Ria Dabi. So I feel like we say, okay, there's some element of luck, but also what the UPSC wants is the stand. I feel like somehow, because after some gap of years, how can the two sisters get like the second highest mark all over India, right? So because the strategy that they apply, the way that they write is maybe what the UPSC wants also. So we really need to work on strategy. Strategy is really important because every one of us, we study hard, we work hard, and the third thing is that, okay, you give your UPSC well, but if you can't clear in like 3-4 attempts, it's important that you also find a job in work. For example, like you can also start writing Karnataka Public Service examination, because you can prepare simultaneously. So you can focus on UPSC first, but if it doesn't happen, you can also work on UPSC and you can write UPSC test. Because when I went to Hyderabad for the training, and every one of us, the IPS, we all introduce ourselves. So when we introduce ourselves, every one of us were working somewhere, like either it's in the private job or government sector or state civil service or things like that, right? So it's also possible to write the exam after, even if you get the job also. So it's really important to have a second option. I mean, it's a little, who knows, I may be demotivating you, but I'm telling the reality also. Like, it's also important to have a plan B also. Of course, focus on UPSC for 1-2 years. Like, if you can clear, like, there are people who clear in the first attempt. So I just hope that you all clear in the first attempt. But even if you can't, then it's also important to have a plan B And even if you have the plan B, you can focus on the UPSC exam, right, along with that. And also, it's more important, like, and I also realized that it's also more important to be a better human being than just a successful human being. Like, there are people who clear the exam, there'll be 900 people who cleared exam last year, there'll be 900 people who cleared exam this year. But if you are clearing, but if you are using that for your own power, if you're using that for corruption, for becoming rich, for becoming more what they call more clever in the society, and you're not contributing to anything, then what's the use of you becoming an officer, right? So instead of being a successful person, I feel that being a good human being is more important. Like the IPS or IS is not the shouldn't be our main goal, but our main goal should be to use the platform of the IS or the IPS to contribute into the society, right? So that we can be an inspiration to the people and we can make positive changes in the society. So I think that is really important. So I just hope that, and also if you think that you are very privileged because so many people want to go for coaching, people want to know how does UPSC, what does UPSC look like, or what are the syllabus. But the parents can't afford to send them to coaching, but for you, you are taking coaching from one of the best institutes. Your parents could afford to pay the fees. So you should think that you are very fortunate to have come till this far, and you have to make the best use of what the opportunity has been given, and you have to make the best use of it and immerse yourself as a successful person, like you, and make your parents proud. So I just wish all of you all the best. If you have any questions, then you can ask. Okay. Yeah, you can ask questions. Because actually, now I didn't prepare anything. So if you ask questions, it will be more easier for me to continue, right? Yeah. Yeah. So earlier in the first mains and the second mains, I also didn't get proper time to study because I had clashed with my state service exam. Okay, but I didn't work test series. First thing, okay, I didn't really test series, and second is I didn't focus on the syllabus well. And even if I was writing a question, I just wrote like I used to complete the paper, but I just wrote it for namesake. Okay. But then the second thing, in this year means I make sure that I joined test series. That is why I joined Forum IS and Vision IS. And I used to write answers regularly. And along with that, I formed a group of my friends. And then we used to discuss like what are the probable topics that we ask in the exam, right? So we used to discuss that and we used to collect topics. And I told you like there were so many questions that came from that topic also because you can somehow, if you have enough knowledge, you can somehow predict the questions, okay, especially in GS too. And the third is that I try to write examples. I try to work on the quality of the answer that I write. Like earlier, I was just writing just like that, but now I try to start my introduction with a data or with some contextual introduction. The body, I just used to write what is the demand of the question, even though I want to write so much on it. And I used to underline those because people don't have time to go through everything. So you need to understand important data, important competitive recommendations, and you need to substantiate it and give examples. Even your conclusion can be like you can use some big words like subkasat, subkavikas, or things like that. Or you can use like India is trying to 5 trillion economy, things like big words, right? And also you can use SDG for like SDG 5 deals with gender equality, things like that, no? So you can have some, you can prepare some notes in advance. Like I used to make my notes from different things. Like once you clear the prelims, you will see the Sonia IS, Omni IS. There are some materials, and we used to give quotations, booklets. We used to give feathers. So you can, if you don't have time, then you can refer those. And there are lots of toppers copies, and you need to refer the toppers copies. Like I used to refer the Shruti Sharma. I think Shruti Sharma was top one, right? So I used to write like her, like example. She made like if you look her copies and she has like examples and she'll put a triangle. So I immediately did the same. So like you can refer to Topper's copies because it's available in the internet. So somehow you will understand like how they are writing, how to create exam. So that is the changes that I made. Okay. Thank you so much for the time. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I really had a good time. Wishing all of you the best. So thank you.